Oh God, there she is.
Hey,
All right.
hello.
What took you so long, man? You left me
Coffee.
hanging. Oh, you can't do that. I talked to you already. This is like an immediate transfer. Jeez.
Oh,
Okay.
wait. I gotta have a crooked
So two
picture.
topics we want to talk about. Let's start with the fun one, right? The fun one is you're going to go to Investors Day. You got an
Yes.
invite. Everybody wants to know how come you got it, all that stuff. But then what are you preparing? Tell us the details. And then I do want to come back and talk about what you're thinking about government, whether or not they should be helping cars in the car makers in the US because China's doing it. And what do you think about keeping ICE vehicles who are in no position to survive? Should we be subsidizing them to keep them as competitors? But let's start with a fun topic. Tell me about Investor Day. What's your plan? I think you said that you're going with a huge group. Are you joining
I
parties?
there is a group of Tesla. I guess Tesla people that are all going to go have a party at the Clive Bar in Austin. So if anyone's there,
Yeah.
you can search it on Twitter, and they're going to do a watch party there. So my twin sister is going, and she's going to be at the watch party since there are no plus ones to the event, at least for retail investors. The event itself is long. Like I just got the actual
Yeah.
the breakdown yesterday in my ticket, and it starts at 11 a.m. and it goes until like 7:30 p.m. It's a long day.
What are you doing?
So I get to see this whole a whole factory line. It's like it's a mile walk. I have to wear pants. I never wear pants. I had to actually go buy pants yesterday to wear pants for this factory walk.
Can be cool.
They'll give you I think there's hard hat, safety vest, and really get to see everything. But they will not allow me to take any photos. They will not allow me to take any video, and I probably can't even talk about what I see there. So it will just satisfy my own need to know absolutely everything I can about production, and then I won't be able to share it.
Well, you were a Giga Texas, though, Giga Rodeo.
No,
so this is
my first event, and I think that that might be one of the reasons why I got invited. Having a large number of shares, having been invested since the IPO, and then never having been into an event before, might have a little bit to do with it, or it could just be really random good luck. I mean, because I was registered on the shareholder site, and each share is like a lottery ticket, so it helps to have been obsessed with Tesla since the beginning, like I have been in that regards. But I'm really super excited about the agenda. So we get to see a factory line, and it seems like it's going to be relatively small groups doing that because they've given a couple, like 2.5 hours for a tour that's going to take 60 to 90 minutes. And then they're going to do Model S plaid rides as well. So some people will be seeing the line, some will be doing the rides, and then they'll cycle through that. The keynote.
Why is it the Model S plaid? Why isn't it Cybertruck?
Yeah, no.
What do you think?
That's a good question, and maybe they just want to keep the Cybertruck for the Cybertruck release party.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
They like, no, don't steal the thunder, because you have people that have been waiting and are going to get the first keys passed over. So do it then. Is probably the idea. And then I think it's also just a showcase of Tesla's technology and Tesla's processes. And there's no question that the plaid is supercar level, right? And just looking at where the suggested hotels are was telling to me about the people invited to this event. The suggested hotel is the Four Seasons, the Fairmont. I feel very like lowbrow because I'm staying at a W. Like it's not good enough for this crowd. It's like a lot more.
Do you know who else is going? Yeah. Do you know others that are going that already? That
I only saw 2 people on Twitter that are retail investors that were invited. Both seem to be very long-term shareholders as well. It just seems to be a relatively small event, just from the lack of people. It could be that
it's not just retail investors. Maybe this is really catered against investors, which is the big big whales, maybe.
That's exactly what I think. We know that Pierre am I going to say it right? Farragut, he's going.
Yeah.
So I think that it is very much tailored to the big investors, and that makes sense to me, because Master Plan 3, I really feel is going to be exceptionally ambitious. I mean, the goal is to bring Earth to a sustainable energy future. So that's as big as it can get as a goal is. So that requires a lot of financing. That requires Wall Street buying in. It should probably be a lot of money going out the door to be able to fund those ambitions. And I think that this event is about releasing a really big plan for the future that's going to get, if people appreciate and understand it, it should make them really excited the way I'm excited. Of course, I always think everyone should be excited the way I'm excited, but they should be really excited that we're entering, I think, a whole new age, an age of abundance, where so many wars and there's been so much damage through history about trying to get energy, trying to get resources. It's been created deaths in our society. I mean, even just the simplest things like blackouts that we've seen that have gone on for 5 days in Texas have created deaths. People have died from these things. So if Tesla can solve these issues and puts a plan in place, the path of how the world moves into this next age and this next evolution of society, that's a huge, huge deal. I mean, I'm super excited about this event because of what's going to be discussed. The Master Plan 3 is enormous. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I've been saying that I think this is historic. I think that, is it just another event? I don't think so. I think this is going to be important. And we'll see what happens. But so it sounds like, so who are you going? Like, you said that there is like a group of you going, your whole family or your friends like that?
Oh, no, just me and my twin sister are going together. But there's like some people I've been messaging with on Twitter that are going, and the Tesla Owners Club of Austin has arranged this viewing party, and they're nicely opening it up to us people from out of town that are coming in for the event, whether you're lucky enough like me to get inside, or whether you're my twin sister who just is going to come and join the party.
So that's a breaking news, everybody. I already knew this, but there's a twin sister.
Identical. There's two.
One day I'll think it's you. And I'm like,
okay. One day I'll have her come and sit next to me on the live stream.
But she probably knows nothing about Tesla, right? Is that the way it works?
She wasn't. She's in the startup community in the Bay Area, so she's largely been invested in the companies that she worked in. But when she left one company, she did sell all their stock and move it all over into Tesla. So she's not invested at quite my level, but she is heavily invested in Tesla and interested in it as well.
Okay, love it. All right, so let's get back to the other topic. What I wanted to discuss with you is government involvement with the car manufacturers, right? So BYD, Xiaopeng, we just showed the numbers. Their profitability is just abysmal, but their volume's high. And I don't even actually know the real truth about this, but their government, China, is actually subsidizing them and taking care of them. Okay, we know that Ford has just a terrible report in earnings. Just yesterday, it showed that 4 things had happened to Ford in the last 2 days. That shows that they're really struggling and things are not looking good. And so it was their strategy to kind of let the world know we're not doing well, versus GM, right? Mary Barrs, we're the best, we're great, everything's just fine. But I'm sure in the back end, she's telling Biden, hey, we're going to need your help. They're prepping the government. So some people are saying, hey, you should just let this is a free market and companies should die and succeed. So if another country is supporting their manufacturers, should the U.S. do the same? And then 2, is that going to help at all? If these guys, even if they got more money to bail them out, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to automatically be able to create, successful EVs and successful balance sheets. And then what do you think Elon would want? Because he has always said that he wants a sustainable future. He wants as many car manufacturers out there that are creating electric vehicles. They can't do it themselves. But, what would his replies? I think I heard that the board member of Tesla, he said that we will support any electric vehicle companies. And I don't know if that included the ICE manufacturers who are creating EVs. But yeah, what's your philosophy in thinking about this?
I really am usually anti government subsidies and government letting the free market develop on its own. But I think that there was just going to be some stimulus money that was going out to stimulate the economy. And if that was the case, then I would prefer it to be spent on a big important issue like increasing batteries, move the world toward an energy sustainable future. And I mean, really, the dollar figures when you look at what that's really going to take. I mean, we talked before about there's 2 billion cars on the road right now, with the used cars and with new cars. Even if Tesla was selling 20 million cars a year, it's still just not enough. So if this is something that's important for every civilian and actually every living thing on Earth, I mean, it's just as important for the species that can't speak up for themselves to not have our climate and our society go down a bad path, then maybe it is a good use of government money. If the money was going to be spent as stimulus money anyways, I can get on board with that. I can get on board with the fact that it's being done as a partnership with private companies because, Elon Musk has talked about capital allocation and the efficiency of capital allocation as being a really important thing. And we were just talking about that in the first 20 minutes of how Tesla has done a really amazing job at capital allocation. So the government giving Tesla this money to build out a supercharger network is going to be a far more efficient use of capital than it would be for the government to try and build out a supercharger network itself. And that is actually a move in government contracting right now, that they have to use more than just defense contractors, even though they're experts in what they do. And I'm not saying anything bad about the dedication of those people, but it's the government contracting is trying to bring a spirit of competition in and broaden out the list of suppliers. And Tesla would certainly be the opposite of a normal government supplier, right? They couldn't even say the name of Tesla. They couldn't even admit that Tesla or Elon Musk existed last week, So
yeah.
It's really a big deal. What do you think about it? I mean, it's a very complex area.
It's very complex. I mean, I don't think you just said it, right? Don't put the money where you're just punting it down and they're going to die anyways. So you want to invest it in things that you know that they're going to have the ability to succeed. And so I just don't know if these existing ICE manufacturers can make that pivot. I just don't think they can. I was talking about this recently with somebody else, which is, can you name another industry where you saw an incumbent where there's a massive technology change and then the incumbent who was doing the old technology was able to successfully, take over and survive? And it's very rare, very rare. Almost everything, they just don't have it in them. This is not a car. This is software. This is AI. This is, it's batteries. And these guys don't do any of this. So I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't either. And I think that's in some ways brilliant about funding the supercharger network. It does take away one of the blockers from buying an EV from ICE, that you can't charge the car easily, without actually at this moment subsidizing the legacy manufacturer that might not make it. But do I think that might be coming? It's so many jobs. I mean, because it's just so many jobs and communities that's the business in that community. I
there
don't
was
know how that plays
tweet.
out.
I can't find it right now, but I actually had it, which is Elon replying back very recently to the concept that it's one thing for a car manufacturer to create electric vehicles, and these electric vehicles may actually be good. They're fine. But it's another thing to be able to create it in a profitable way. And when you've got the albatross of the factories that you have, the ICE cars that you have, then you have the dealership, they may never be able to get into a profitable way to deliver these new EVs. And that's what he was saying, that, it's one thing to do that, but to be able to do it profitably, that's the next big thing. And that's hard. And so, he said there's a reason why there's only been 2 US manufacturers that survive, which is, I think, GM and Ford and Tesla, created in the US that was able to survive in the last 100 years, whatever. So anyways, very good. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. We need to talk about it some more, but any topic you're interested in talking about? What's your top of your mind right now? Have you been doing that research on the batteries that we're going to do?
Yeah, I have. And in the minerals, a couple interesting things there. LG Chemical, the master Korean battery company, has just signed a deal with Piedmont. That's the lithium manufacturer miner in North Carolina that Tesla has a long-term deal with. And Tesla has re-upped their deal early for another 5 years at long-term rates. So Tesla is in this enviable position where they already have the supplies locked down with long established relationships with both mining companies, with battery manufacturers, and they're getting the priority on the supply, and everyone else is scrambling. But the LG Chemical, I believe it was the president, said that at this moment, they don't care what price they're paying to lock down lithium and battery resources. They're just locking down the raw materials. That's all they care about. So they think that the price is only going up from here, and they just want to get those materials locked down. I thought that was really interesting. And then BYD had an announcement that they're going into, I think it was 7 dealerships in Mexico to start exporting their car to Mexico.
I thought it was London. The first
spot. No, this is new. I should have sent it to you, but it was new a couple days ago that BYD is going into now both the UK and into Mexico. So they're definitely testing out their brand power and export abilities to other countries, which is really interesting.
Yeah, so that's the world, right? It's going to be the Apple and Android. It's going to be Tesla and BYD.
BYD. And what BYD is getting subsidies, but it is a vertically integrated company that it produces its own batteries, and so it has that key element of the tech that others don't. So I think that there is a better argument for BYD to be able to become more profitable in the manufacturing. They ramped up exceptionally fast. They went from very few electrical vehicles being produced to 900,000 in a very short time frame. So they have a lot of prowess there. What they don't have is the brand, the software, the AI, the full self-driving. I mean, all these other things that Tesla has. And then just being able to produce. But it goes back to what you were just saying, Herbert, the difference between being able to produce the vehicles and being able to profitably produce the vehicles.
China's not going to let this go. They're going to really, really make sure that BYD succeeds in all aspects.
Right.
There
was an interesting development there too, though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I was just going to say that they have a real force to, because of this new step change in electric vehicles. They want to become a global production of EVs and robo taxis, because it's an opportunity, right? There's no Chinese manufacturer of cars globally, right? They just missed that out. So now this is their opportunity.
Absolutely. That's so well said. And I think that's 100% the case. I do think that, and I think that they will succeed, but there is room, like you just said, for like the Apple and the Android. There definitely doesn't mean that China has to support their manufacturers at the expense of Tesla Shanghai. And that was a new development that was just coming out this week, where, when Tesla Shanghai went in, it's the only company that didn't have to be a joint venture, where Tesla could own 100% of their factory. And that Tesla Shanghai has received a lot of help from the Chinese government. And they actually continue to receive a lot of help behind the scenes through the pandemic, where Tesla Shanghai was able to go to the government and say, we need these suppliers to be able to produce parts for our cars. And that happened over the COVID shutdown. So it might not be as public and we might not see it, but the Chinese government has been providing quiet help. Now, during the pandemic, they didn't care as much about their worldwide position in the business community. But now the pandemic's over and the Chinese government is starting to focus again on where do we sit in the worldwide business community. We want foreign companies to be comfortable in coming over here and doing what Tesla did and possibly having some of these free trade zones where they can open their own businesses, and we want to support them. So they just the last week, they've had some more announcements of providing more, considering Teslas to be more of a Chinese manufactured car, which it is. I mean, it should be considered.
Sorry, what are you saying? What word?
Well, like,
what are you saying?
So when you look at China, there's a lot of subsidies that in the United States we don't appreciate. So one of those is you usually have to do a lottery for a license plate in most Chinese cities. To even be able to buy a car, you have to enter this lottery, get a license plate. Now you can go buy the car and you pay for that purpose. Usually EVs are not part of the lottery. You just get to buy the EV. So that's part of it. Most of the heavy populated cities, you cannot get in the center tier of the city.
Right, I know this. Yeah, unless you had a certain day and certain license plate.
Yeah, a lot of them is like what even or odd license plate. So if you have an even license plate, you can be in there on even days. If you have an odd license plate, you can be in there on odd days. BYD.
You're global because you travel the world all the time, and so you know this stuff.
Yeah, exactly, because I live it.
Okay, well, get back to tell me what you learned in the last week. You just said something about what did the government, was it an announcement? Was there something that showed that they're now treating Tesla as a Chinese car manufacturer?
Ray for Tesla had a post about it, and I think they even had like some parking restrictions against Tesla. They couldn't park in some areas, and those are being removed. And then there was announcements by one of the Chinese government's officials that are responsible for like international trade, starting to talk about that they needed to start increasing their profile in the international community, and that would relate clearly back to Tesla. And so yeah. So
okay, good.
I wish I had the tweet in front of me.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that was what you're referring to. Okay, that's really good news. I mean, that's another thing I haven't heard anybody talk about, but that's fantastic. Okay, thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate this. We can, had another 20 minutes with you. You are a definite nerd. There's things you said that I did not know. Like,
I have all this information swirling in my head. I can't always say it as eloquently as I would want to. But
okay. Well, let's do our interview soon. And but thank you for sharing all this information. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate for hanging out with us. Bye, everybody.